So ultimately, I learned something by happenstance. I went out there and I was going to go sell my company. I grew the offices to multiple offices, and then I sold it. And when I sold it, I ended up selling it as owner financing. And what I found is that essentially where we're going between properties and businesses is that ultimately owner financing is going to be a huge wave of things that's going to go on, whether that's because interest rates are going up or because private credit's going down. And so if you've seen right now, private credit is driving down significantly. All of those stocks have lost like 30% because they're thinking revenue is going to stop growing for those companies. And so, I don't know whether that's the case or not, but ultimately this comes in hugely because when you're going to go into private credit or equity, you're going to go sell a business. Now, the beauty of this is what I did is I took a business and I sold it for $1.2 million, a little more than that, and then they put money down, and then we owner finance the rest of this. And so what I'm going to talk about in this call is how you can owner finance your business, but that's not the key. The key to this is not owner financing it. Once you go owner finance it, you set it up because now you're not paying tax on the money you haven't received, and you're now collecting interest on that money. But the key to this is we actually have access to a fund, and I've done it multiple times for multiple different things in multiple companies where I've taken that note and I've turned around and sold that note to this fund and they purchase it. And so I understand the acquisition and way they do that and what has to be set up. So we set up companies to prepare to know what is needed to do that. And so the reason this is valuable, and ultimately you'll find this, or I've found this in multiple things, is you're able to speed up capital. So if you can take the payment on an ongoing period, that's a good thing because you're getting 10,000, 20,000, whatever that is. And I've got an example I'm going to share with you in a second, but whatever that is, you're collecting principal and interest over a period of time, which is good. However, sometimes there's ways in which this makes a better opportunity to speed up that capital by selling it for a discount, but I'm gonna explain to you how that discount works and why that doesn't really take place. So part of that is the setup of this. When you're gonna go sell a company, you need to be able to set up a product that's sellable. So what that could be, you need a manager in place, you need all the roles filled, you need to build all the things that are gonna make it where you don't have to be there, so you have a sellable product, because that matters more than it does the secondary part, because you need that in place before you can sell it, unless you're gonna sell it to an operator. If I was doing it over again, if I was doing this over again, I know now how I would have set up and structured the deal to be able to sell that note, to sell that business. I know selling it, if you sell the note off, then you're going to now have to pay tax on that money that's there. So you need to just take that into the equation. But I also know that there's security in selling it. You're going to have an asset sale or equity sale. You need to understand those things as you back into this and get that in place. But there's going to be a security of the note against the asset, which is the business. No different than it would be if it was anything else, like real estate. You'd have the note tied to that asset. So you have to qualify that note, and you have to know what that is. Now, I'm going to tell you as we go into this, the rate matters, right? So when you're selling your business, you're going to move different levers, right? So you've got a sales price, and you've got an interest rate, and then you've got the term, right? And so you can move these around. As you punch them into a calculator, the amount of money down with the interest rate with the term is going to be a huge indicator of what you're going to be able to sell the note for later. I'm going to share my screen so you can just kind of get a visual of what I'm looking at. You can do this really in any mortgage calculator, but we just kind of made it fancy by making a graphic. So I'm going to pull this up.